member for Timiskaming Cochrane.
My question is to the Premier. Early in your mandate, you challenged the agri-food sector to create 120,000 new jobs in Ontario. That's on top of the 750,000 jobs that already exist. Farmers are the foundation of the agri-food sector. They grow the crops and raise the livestock on which the sector depends. Farmers have repeatedly told you that the cap on risk management needs to be lifted so they can continue to drive the agricultural sector. But once again, in this budget, you've chosen not to do so. Premier, how can you set targets for farmers and jobs while refusing to give them the tools to do so?
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I know that the member opposite recognizes that we are the government that brought in the risk management program, Mr. Speaker, that we worked closely with farmers and have helped, the farmers have helped us design the risk management programs, Mr. Speaker, because there are a number of them, as the member opposite knows. We will continue to work with farmers, and I know that the Minister of Agriculture and Food has a very close connection, and as we work, whether it's with the corn-fed beef farmers, Mr. Speaker, or the grain and oilseed farmers, where there are slightly different risk management programs, we'll continue to work with them. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, we are investing in food processing. In the Jobs and Prosperity Fund, Mr. Speaker, there's a particular carve-out for food processing in the agri-food industry, Mr. Speaker. We know how important it is, and we continue to invest and support growth in that sector, including, Mr. Speaker, for example, craft brewers and fruit wines, Mr. Speaker, who are going to be able to grow their businesses.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Once again to the Premier. It was farmers and the government that designed the risk management program. They designed it to be bankable and predictable. May I also remind you that it was your government that capped it, making sure that it was no longer bankable and predictable. The risk management program is one of the best programs this province has ever had, but it doesn't work when you go to the bank and you can't guarantee that your risk is covered. The farmers have repeatedly told you this is the way to make sure that we can continue, that they can continue to create the jobs on which this province depends. Agriculture is either number one or number two in this province, and this government refuses to acknowledge that the farmers, with the risk management program, they need that cap lifted. Premier, why have you chosen again not to do so?
Well, Mr. Speaker, we continue to make investments in rural Ontario, and it's why we increased the budget for agriculture, food and rural affairs by $138 million last year, Mr. Speaker. And as I said, we continue to work with the farm sector to make sure that we design those programs, those risk management programs, which we put in place in consultation with the sector, Mr. Speaker, in response to the sector, in direct response to the need for farmers to have that predictability. We will continue to work with them. We will also invest in their communities, Mr. Speaker. We will also invest in the infrastructure that benefits businesses across the province. We are putting more money in terms of the Small Communities Fund, Mr. Speaker, more money in the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. We're tripling the money in the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, Mr. Speaker. And you know that rural communities, farm communities need those infrastructure investments as much as our urban communities do, Mr. Speaker.